So I've literally just walked in and I've been sent these three websites regarding Bandai Namco being all in on DEI. Now I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, am I in the upside down or something? What the hell is going on? Now, this first one is coming from a website called Bounding into Comics. And it says Bandai Namco all in on DEI after learning about it from Western media. I realized that not being represented may nullify a person's existence even to the point of discrimination. I hope that this is like a mistranslation again. I don't know if you guys heard, but Kishimoto, the creator of Naruto, was doing some interviews. And I think he did one in France. And they asked him a question about Sarada, who is Sasuke's daughter. And I believe she's like 11 years old, maybe younger, maybe slightly older, but she's a kid. She's not a teenager, at least not what they're referring to in the interview. And they mistranslated him apparently. And when they translated it, it made out like he called her sexy. And obviously she's a child, so everyone was like, oh, what the fuck? But as we know, or some of you don't know, I've studied the Japanese language. I'm not great with it, but I understand that words have different meanings, or like their expressions are different. Like I think I'm saying this right. I'm going to embarrass myself on camera, but I think urusai, if you say it quietly and gently, it just means be quiet. But if you say it with a lot of bass in your voice, it can mean shut up very aggressively, even though you're saying the same word. And I think that people uncovered that it was kind of like that. It was the same sort of situation, so it was a mistranslation. Like Japanese is a contextual language, so expression and the context is very, very important. And so when people translate things, sometimes they don't translate over the way that people are saying it. We saw the same thing with Black Myth Wukong. So when I read this article, I'm like, were they having the interview in Japanese? Did somebody get this wrong? Now, this is very specific. I realized that not being represented may nullify a person's existence, even to the point of discrimination. That is extremely specific. But like the Kishimoto situation, I hope it's a mistranslation. And thank God it was a mistranslation of Kishimoto before we get into this, because obviously we know Kishimoto is one of the GOATs. Naruto and Naruto Shippuden are two of the greatest animes of all time. Boruto is not as good, but I don't even think he's involved with that. So, you know, that's neither here nor there. But I think people need to be really careful when they're translating things from other languages, because I know again I think there's a substitute word for sexy in Japanese, and I'm not entirely sure what the miscommunication was with what he said. But as far as I'm aware, the Japanese word for sexy is like sakushi or sekushi. I don't know if I'm saying that properly. But I think what he meant was that she's cool, which I think is kakoi. Anyway, my Japanese is weak. I'm getting off topic. I'm just reading this article and I'm looking at it and I'm seeing Goku there and I'm like, what are they talking about? Not being represented. Guys, please don't fall for these Western developers. You're gonna tank your company. Have you not seen what's been happening over here? Concord and this other garbage that people have been talking to me about, Dustborn. Don't listen to these idiots. Don't listen to them. When I look at Goku, yes, he might have white skin. He might have golden hair when he transforms. He might be from an alien planet. But I resonate with the character. I don't need to look like him. It's the ideas and the ideologies and what the characters represent that people connect with. I don't look like Vegeta. I'm not from planet Vegeta. I cannot transform into a giant ape. But I resonate with that character. I don't need you to make him look like me, but I haven't even read the article yet. I just read this title and I was like, oh my god, Bandai Namco, please. Now, I've heard that Bandai Namco have dabbled with this DEI stuff, but I don't know to what extent. So we're going to read this article. There's also two other articles up here that we're going to take a quick look at. It says a Bandai Namco rep has confirmed that after learning about the creativity killing concept from various Western sources, the Japan-based video game developer is fully dedicated to promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion within their games. As you are, you are walking down a dangerous road, let me tell you. This turn for the developer of the Tekken, Super Robot Wars, and Pac-Man franchises was revealed courtesy of a presentation given by a representative from the Quality Assurance Department, Okuma Mirai, during the 2024 entry of the Annual Computer Entertainment Developers Conference, CEDEC, an annual trade show in which members of the East Asian video game industry come together to discuss the practical aspects of their respective business operations. Titled Aiming to be Global in Expression as well, DE&I initiatives, the panel, per a recap, provided the Japanese game video news outlet 4Gamer and machine translated by Deep L, saw Mirai begin by confirming that she supposed that the supposed reason for the company's turn to DEI was a desire to broaden the scope of our content and expose it to a wider variety of gamers. Well, you know, I'm not very good at Japanese. I can read hiragana, I can kind of read katakana, I cannot read kanji. All I can see here is DEI. And this lady, I don't know what the translation is here. I tried to get some of my Japanese friends on the phone to do this with me so they can read through it. I did speak to somebody. Again, their Japanese is not great, but from what they told me, this doesn't look good. So we can't read any of this, which is fantastic. If somebody can translate, that would be great. I'll put the link in the description below. Because I don't know what time it is in Japan right now, but I don't think anyone's awake or is at work. But this is not a good thing, guys. This is not good. People already liked your games. Have you guys not learned anything? How is it that we've seen the success of Black Myth Wukong, and we've seen the absolute destruction of Dustborn and Concord and some other games that have come out, and you're like, yeah, we're fully committed to this whole DEI stuff? Do you know what? Even using the words DEI, because you see it come up in this article, you see it pop up. DEI is there, DEI is over here. You know, using that, just using that now is almost destructive. And I don't want people to get the wrong idea. Like, having people from different backgrounds in a game is not a good thing, because look at Tekken. Tekken has got characters from all over the world. They all speak their own languages. Tekken is a very, very diverse game. And this diversity done correctly. Do not take diversity lessons from Western game developers and game journalists. They don't know how to do it directly. We will pick up if it is being forced. And even if you are one of our beloved Japanese developers, we will not buy your games if you start doing some nonsense like they're doing in games like Concord and Dustborn and whatever other games that they're trying to push this bullshit in. Let's continue reading the article. To this end, the QA rep admitted that in order to expand their operations, they must take into consideration the taste of their prospective audiences. And what she had learned from her overseas partners was that DEI was one of, if not the biggest hot button issue for Western players. Curiously, Mirai then put forth her working definition of DEI, which described as a state in which diverse individuals are respected and can demonstrate their abilities in a fair environment and under fair conditions. Maybe, if we're giving them the benefit of the doubt, maybe the Japanese's interpretation of DEI is going to come across... I don't know why I'm saying this. Even as I say, I'm like, shut up, Mike. You're not even making any sense. Maybe their interpretation of DEI isn't going to be a bad thing like it is in the West. Maybe they just want to have loads of cool characters. Because the thing is that anime and Japanese video games are already pretty diverse anyway. You do have quite a fair amount of like representation from other countries. So I don't want to jump the gun. I don't want to rage bait or anything like that. Obviously, reading this, you're like, who's in this woman's ear? And can someone steer her in the right direction? The last thing we want to see is like a Yakuza game, for example, infested with Western DEI. Or, you know, a Soul Calibur game. Can you imagine a Soul Calibur game with the whole DEI mandate? It would be unrecognizable. I don't even think Soul Calibur's coming back at this point, but that would be hilarious to see. Man, putting images of Dragon Ball here whilst talking about DEI is crazy. You are trying to upset somebody. I don't know if the people at Bounding Into Comics did that on purpose, but this is not a good look. With this in mind, the Bandai Namco rep then argued that while representation and diversity are not legally mandated in Western media productions, The concepts must still be given proper weight when developing titles for release outside of Asia, because their inclusion, no pun intended, would make a given game more attractive to said audience. What audience are you talking about? Who are you talking about the loud people on Twitter that don't even buy the games, that just like making noise? In support of her claim, she cited an unspecified study from analytics from Newzoo that found a little over half of British and American respondents considered the concept of DEI to be generically important, though to what or who the survey did not specify. Yet important in terms of when we hear that DEI is the first thing on your mind, we don't want to buy the game. Not that we need people to look like us or sound like us. We need you to tell us stories that are interesting, that we can resonate with, that will make us think. And it doesn't mean that we resonate in terms of, oh, they mirror our life. They present you with concepts that make you go, oh, didn't really think about that. I mean, that's hitting a side of my personality I wasn't really aware of, because you guys have been doing that anyway. You've been telling good stories for a long time in your anime and in your games. Don't let these Westerners who have destroyed their own studios and tanked companies and made movie studios go out of business, or made movies that they invested so much money into absolutely do terrible at the box office. Don't let these people tell you how you should be doing your games. We really like your games. Okay, you don't need to listen to these morons. It is necessary to consider the most important factors in the content, she said. Interestingly, she further noted that DEI was particularly important to Western players because, according to the same Newzoo survey, they tend to project themselves onto a given video game character far more often than their Eastern counterparts. No, we don't. Go to Steam right now and look at the games where they think that we project ourselves onto the characters. Please go and take a look at them. Does this look like people are playing the game to you, Japan? Namco, please, don't listen to them. Listen to me. I know you don't know who I am. I know you probably don't care. But look at this. Their all-time peak of a game that they invested millions into and took 8 years to build. Infested with DEI. Infested. It's like a roach infestation. 697 peak players, 241 in the last 24 hours, 172 right now, 172 for a game that they invested millions into. Do you guys want to lose money? Do you want to lose money? That is the question here, because if you do, then by all means listen to these people. But I guarantee you, if you walk down this road, it's not going to go well. We do not project ourselves in the manner that you are thinking. When you release a game, like, what can I even use as an example here? Final Fantasy. And the main character is from wherever, you know, just say they're Japanese, a Japanese character, or it's a white dude or whatever it might be. I don't look at that character and go, oh, he doesn't look like me. Can't really connect. I can't really get into the game properly the way I want to, because he doesn't represent what I am, you know, the way I look, the way I present. Well, you know, when I was growing up, Spider-Man, I was well aware Spider-Man didn't look like me at all. But I felt like Spider-Man was written for me. And I know a lot of other little boys felt like that at the time, that Spider-Man was their guy. Especially because back in those days, we didn't really have a lot of teenage superheroes. They were much older. That did come into effect a bit more when the X-Men started to explode. But for the most part, Spider-Man was our guy. That was the guy we would turn to. Now, I am not a white dude from New York. Okay, there's a lot of things that happen to Peter that have never happened to me. But watching the way he deals with the situations, watching him grow into a man, watching him overcome his trials and tribulations, watching him digest situations and figure out how to best navigate them in adulthood. Those are the things that we look to, and we look to interesting stories. I actually like playing a game or watching a story about people that are not like me to see how they deal with a situation. So I can look at it and be like, okay, I wouldn't have done that, but I get their point. You know, a lot of great stories have really sat here and made us think. I mean, just look at Attack on Titan, look at Death Note. Now, none of those characters really look like me. None of them behave like me, but I certainly stopped to think about, oh, who's the bad guy here? Who's the good guy? Where are they going to go with this concept? What's going to happen next? We don't need a literal representation of ourselves. We just need good stories, and we need them told in a clever way. It's going to make us think. She next recalled that their experience with DEI began during the development of Blue Protocol, during which a player complained that they did not feel represented due to the game's original lack of black hairstyles in its character creator. If you go over here, I think this is the game they're talking about. That's kind of giving me the whole, what's his name again? Killmonger vibe. It's not quite that, but we see that with all black characters now. All black characters have the whole Killmonger Wakanda vibe going on, where the hair is off to one side. It's so annoying. It's so irritating seeing that hairstyle everywhere. I think that must be what they're referring to here. Oh, putting Luffy there. You're playing with fire. I'm telling you. As much as I love the media that Japan has provided me with over the years, if you start playing with this shit, you're going to be treated in the exact same way that we treat the Western game developers, and your games will not get purchased. And you know what? We can just watch the entire games industry destroy itself, or the Chinese and the Koreans are going to take over. Because from what I can see, Korean games, they don't seem to give a fuck. They're just putting out, whatever they want, no holds barred. And China's just put out Black Myth Wukong, which has gone insane. I think it's on 14.5 million sales now. Insane for a single player game. Absolutely incredible. So keep playing this nonsense game, see what happens. I realized that what diversity means, she added, not being represented not only means that the demand for self-expression cannot be met, but it also means that we may not be able to imagine the identities of the many players. Do you know, I've seen this meme where there's these people saying, oh, this person represents me just because of the skin color, and then just below it there's a bunch of dudes and they're looking at Wukong and they all go, that's literally me. And that's how we feel, like literally when I'm watching One Piece and when I'm watching Dragon Ball and when I'm playing Devil May Cry or when I'm playing Resident Evil, the older Resident Evil games anyway, and I'm like, yeah, that's me. I'm Chris Redfield, that's me. I feel like I am connecting with the character. You guys you're walking a dangerous path, I'm telling you. Interestingly, the QA rep also noted that when it came to actually executing DEI, it is important that developers actually understand the content they're working with so as to not make the end result feel not only unnatural but completely ham-fisted, and would thus immediately turn off a large portion of potential customers, even those who may support the base effort. Okay, there's some common sense here. So, like I said, look, I watch One Piece, right? And if you're not watching One Piece, please get on it. And in One Piece, there is a wide range of characters. I'm talking all walks of life. I'm talking straight, transgender, gay, black, Japanese. There's characters from all over the gaff. Not once do they ever sit there and think, this feels forced. And I even think about the Sector and the Cyrax thing in Mortal Kombat, the whole gender bending thing. And I sat there and I really thought about, why does this annoy me so much? Because the reason I was thinking about it, and I didn't make a video on it, just because I think the Fourth Snake made a video recently. I watched some of it. He covered a lot of the points that I was going to actually bring up. So I thought, okay, well, that's already been covered. But just to add it into this video, I sat there and I was wondering, why am I so bothered by the gender bending in the West? Because as I sat there and thought about it, I thought about all the gender bending that I've seen from Japanese animes and games. Terry Bogard has been gender bent before. Nobunaga, a historical figure, has shown up as a woman before. Even in the Naruto anime, Naruto has the sexy jutsu where he becomes a woman momentarily. In One Piece, there's a character called Ivankov that can mess with your hormones. We've seen characters go from male to female in One Piece, and it never bothered me. And I sat there and I thought, why did it not bother me? Even though I clearly have a problem with it in Western games and Western media. And I think because in Western games and Western media, they are deliberately trying to push a message with everything that they do. They deliberately disrespect and shun players and self-insert and do all of these things that we don't want to see. And they completely butcher storylines. Whereas in the Japanese version of doing this, like when Nobunaga showed up as a woman, I don't remember anyone getting upset about it because it was done in an endearing way. It didn't feel like they were pushing a rewrite of history or anything like that. When they gender bend characters in One Piece, they recently gender bent one of the big characters. I won't say for the people that are still catching up, but not somebody in the Straw Hats, but somebody else got gender bent momentarily. There's even figurines of it now. And I sat there and I was like, that was kind of funny, watching them become a woman momentarily. And I never got annoyed about it because it just didn't feel like they were trying to push something on us. And that's what it feels like with Western media. It always feels like there's an underlying message. Like, they'll say things like, oh, all men are bad, and they'll make all the women super powerful, and all the dudes will be lugging around like idiots. But then in Japanese animes, you'll get really powerful female characters. Like, I'm watching Kaiju number 8, and up to where I am, the most powerful character in there is a woman, and one of the other powerful characters is a small blonde girl. But I didn't really get the whole, oh, they're trying to push feminism thing because of the way it was presented. The way they present things in Western games is very obvious that they're trying to push a message, especially because of how the culture has shifted in America and in the UK, with our society and politics and everything. That's why people become so worked up about it. It's not so much that things get gender bent. It's the way that they are going about it, and the way they're butchering characters, and the way they're trying to push a message on us. And I think that is why people got very upset with Sector and Cyrax, because I can imagine a world where Sector and Cyrax were gender bent by a Japanese studio, where that sort of, the things that are going on over here are not really going on over in Japan as far as I'm aware. And people not getting mad about it, because I didn't get mad at Terry Bogard getting a female variant. I didn't get mad at it. They went about it. Yeah, he turned into a girl. There's a female version of her, but she's not like the canon version of Terry going forward. It's not a rewrite of history. It's not saying we're getting rid of that character and we're now putting this Terry Bogard in the game. So not to ramble on for too much longer. That went on for some time. From there, she said that after learning about what diversity means, she then dedicated herself to learning how to apply the concept to Bandai Namco's games. Oh, lady, please don't. I don't know who's in your ear, but they're feeding you some bullshit. Please, just back off. According to 4Gamer's own recap of the event, the rep informed attendees that she did so by reading as much as she could about DEI news in the international general media and DEI related articles in the game industry from about 10 years ago to the present. Further, she also studied how her industry peers were attempting to accomplish the same goal and read various written books on the topic. All of this, she said, was in service of her rolling out of Bandai Namco's new in-house DEI training program, which according to her consisted of 4 key pillars. About character hair, which discussed how to properly create more diverse character designs, particularly in regards to their hairstyle. I'm not against more diverse character designs, and I'm not against having more black hairstyles in a video game. What I'm concerned about is the level of importance of doing that versus doing things that I think take priority, like telling a good story and creating a character that fits the world that you're talking about, and not just having somebody in there that is going to tick a checkbox, you know, because we're going to pick up on that straight away. Character gender, wherein it is explained that one's gender is made up of 4 parts, including biological sex, gender identity, sexual orientation, and gender expression. Again, in a lot of Japanese media, I have seen queer characters, I've seen people that get gender bent, I've seen trans characters. As we said, you know, One Piece has those characters in it. This all depends on how they decide to go about it, because it's how they go about it in Western games that are really the problem. I don't think anybody has an issue with a trans character actually existing in a game. I don't think anybody has an issue with a trans character playing an important part in a game. I don't think anybody has an issue with characters using pronouns that we may not associate with them. For example, another example, using One Piece again, there is a character called Yamato in the show. Now, Yamato is clearly a woman. You can clearly see the body, the arse and titties. You can clearly see it's a woman, but Yamato refers to herself as a he. And the reason she does that is because she's trying to embody the spirit, and she wants to become the next Kozuki Oden, I believe his name was. She's trying to embody him and who he was, because he was a hero samurai and all that. But you can clearly see it's a woman, right? And when I'm watching it, I'm never like, oh, you know, they're trying to mess with us right now. This is all that DEI thing, because they've done this before in One Piece, and it never feels like that. It always just feels like more. They're trying to convey a message. They're trying to convey the story in a way that makes sense to us. That Yamato was obsessed with Odin as a child, and so she wanted to be him, and so that's why she calls herself. Why she uses the male pronouns. Anyway, again, it all comes down to how they decide to go about this. Difference in culture and values, which concerns itself with how one should approach differences in regional culture regarding certain actions, images, or words. And accessibility, mainly in regards to making the game usable for disabled players. That's all good. I think that there should be as many options as possible for disabled players to be able to play games the same way we do. I don't think there's anything wrong with creating methods in which they're able to access the game the way we are. Not to say that it should impede the game and they should change the core mechanics, but they've implemented systems in like Tekken, for example, and Street Fighter that are for people that are hard of hearing or have problems seeing. And I know that other games are implementing those things, so no problem with that whatsoever. Also, no problem with them taking more care with how they represent cultures in games, because it's always good to see them represent a culture accurately. Of course, if you're telling a fictional piece, I don't mind if you take liberties with that. I'm not going to get upset if you take a piece of Greek culture or African culture, wherever, you know, say Uganda or Nigeria, and you take liberties with that and it's a fictional piece. If you do what the guys over at Assassin's Creed do and try to make out like it's an accurate retelling, and then you put Yasuke at the forefront, then we're going to have a problem, because we're like, well, it's not an accurate telling, is it? But if you're telling a fictional piece and you want to take creative liberties with some sort of African lore, I'm not going to care about that. Bringing this session to a close, she ultimately declared that while she still enjoys the very Japanese-specific games of her childhood, she hopes more developers will begin abiding by the concepts of DEI in order to bring their works to even wider audiences. Look, this all depends on how you go about it, okay? That's all it is. That is what it's going to depend on here. If you do not understand or you can't see what's happening over here and what happens when we see... I'm not going to lie to you, I always give things a fair shake, but when I see DEI, I'm just like, I think I should go this way and leave this bullshit or whatever it is and representing over here. But, you know, if they're adopting it, maybe they're not going to do the worst job in the world. I know I am literally throwing a bone at this point, and you guys are probably thinking, come on, Mike, you already know. But I don't want to be completely closed off to the idea that people from another part of the planet can do this correctly. Because again, the Japanese have always been very good at representing different kinds of people in their animes and in their games. I've always seen it. So this is, I think, it's more of the same what we saw before. There's not even that much here. I'll just read out what they've got here actually, because I think this is a little bit more. According to a recap from the panel from Japanese site 4Gamer, Bandai Namco has gone all in with sharing DEI programs and articles among its internal staffing, saying information about DEI was also shared within the Bandai Namco group. Bandai Namco Entertainment in particular has strong ties with, based in the United States and Europe, and handles a large number of titles, so it seems they were able to obtain useful information and knowledge. On the other hand, Western culture is low context, starting from a place of no common understanding and placing emphasis on verbal expression, which is due to the fact that Western countries are multi-ethnic countries with immigrants and other factors. Therefore, it was shown that simply translating Japanese lines and explanations into the local language may not be interpreted well due to a lack of words. I do notice that when they translate things in anime, sometimes the character in Japanese is saying something completely different. Now that I'm picking up on the Japanese language a little bit more, and I cannot, especially I remember watching JoJo's and I was like, he didn't say that, and I looked it up just to verify and I was like, that's not what he said at all. And I think it's due to that cultural sensitivities. Even when animes get dubbed, some characters' personalities, especially in like Dragon Ball, they completely change. In the Japanese version of Dragon Ball, Goku is more of a warrior first, He's more of like, he has that savage mentality where he wants to fight, fight, fight. But in the English version, at least in the original English dub, he was more like Superman, you know, more I'm the hero of the earth, Frieza, blah blah blah. In Japanese, he was like, I'm gonna fuck you up, Frieza. That's basically what he was like. So there are things that get lost in translation. Don't really know what to say. I don't know what to think about all of this, because on one hand, it's like, if you're paying attention to what's going on in the West, Bandai Namco, then you can see that when we see a narrative consultant agency, or Sweet Baby Inc., or DEI, or any of these things, or some sort of like, oh, we put inclusion at the forefront, you must be able to see that we are checking out of these games. Like, you have another brand new game here called Dustborn, and Dustborn has 83 all-time peak in the last 7 days, and in the last 24 hours, 50 people. And as you can see, Dustborn came out 20th of August 2024. It's the 29th. It's been out for 9 days. This is just absolutely, like, guys, you guys over at Bandai Namco, I don't know if you're ever going to see this video. I don't think you will, but hopefully another larger creator gets your attention. Please don't listen to these people. We liked your games the way they were. We like how you drew and represented black characters. We like how you represented gay characters, trans characters, non-binary, whatever religion. You know, you got different cultures in JoJo's. You've got different cultures represented in loads of different video games. I don't need to literally see myself to resonate with a character, or to sit there and really get into a game. I don't look like Wukong. I am not Chinese, and yet I am engrossed. I'm in love with the story of the Chinese fairy tale of the Monkey King. I don't need to look like Goku. I don't need to look like Ichigo. I don't need to look like Dante or Virgil. You just need to tell me a good story. That's what you need to focus on, and I guarantee you people will show up. If you start taking lessons from these Western games developers and these games journalists about DEI, you are going to end up in the same boat as them, and I will not feel sorry for you. And do you know what's going to happen? Right now, the Japanese gaming world is kind of regarded as the pinnacle of like top tier games. That's where the best games come from in abundance. But you will fade to nothingness, and the Chinese and the Koreans will take over, because they seem to get it right now. If you go down this road, I guarantee you the people that have supported your games for many years, whether that be Tekken, whether that be your Arena Fire anime games like Ultimate Ninja Storm, or the upcoming Rebirth of Souls, or My Hero Academia, or whatever it might be, will not be supported anymore. You will be left to the wayside, and somebody will come in and fill that void. Please heed my words, or if somebody by any chance sees this video and you are a larger creator, I don't even care if you steal what I'm talking, exactly how I phrased it. Someone tell these guys not to listen to the goofballs over here in America. They're going to destroy these games, and these are the real last bastions of good times that we have. There's too much shit coming out of Western developers. You have no idea. But you know what? This is probably not going to get back to them, and they're probably going to go full steam ahead. So go ahead and do it, and watch you crash and burn. And like I said, the pendulum will swing, and it will swing. It will knock you over as well. I don't care who it is. Whether it's America, whether it's the UK, whether it's Japan, Korea, China, Belgium, Poland, wherever these game studios might be set up. If you turn on the players and you start doing this DEI bullshit the way they're doing it over here, the way it's represented in Concord and Dustborn, then you're gonna be treated exactly the same. Now, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. I know I probably shouldn't, but let's see what you decide to do with these DEI mandates and having it spread around the company. Let's see what you do with it. Let's see if you interpret it very differently to the way the West has. But that's all I really want to say. Again, just to touch on what we talked about in the first part of this video, Kishimoto, okay, the GOAT, the creator of Naruto, I do not believe he called young Sarada sexy, okay? I think there were people on Twitter that didn't bother to understand that Japanese is a contextual language, and hopefully, the translations of this speech that this individual, this woman gave, have not been translated well. So I'm not going to damn them yet, but I pray to God that that is the case and they were mistranslated and she's saying something whether slightly different or halfway different, I don't know. But DEI is just not the way to go, guys. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and I'll catch you all very soon. Take care and peace.